Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about. Hit subscribe to my super chat. I can't thank you enough. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. So if you want to support this live stream, if you enjoy the live streams, my super chat is below. If you want to talk about the reaction to Roe v. Wade being overturned, the hypocrisy, the unbelievable hypocrisy of Democrats when it comes to democracy. Okay, there's all this talk about democracy and the rule of law. The rule of law. They love the rule of law when things work their way. They don't like the rule of law when it doesn't work their way. Okay? They don't want, if they don't like something, it's, oh my God, just it's illegitimate. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. We can't stand it. They're trying to display their contempt, their rage, anger, frustration, discontent. And it's like emotions aren't going to change anything. You can be as angry as you want. You have to actually now voice your thoughts in a sober, rational, logical manner. You have to engage in dialogue, discourse, debate, discussion, and actually convince voters in red states. Okay? And that's what Democrats have to do, which they obviously don't want to do. But hit subscribe. If you want to talk about any of this stuff via Super Chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, AOC and others, they don't really like, you have, the irony is truly lost upon everyone here. Like the entire country, all of media, they were focusing on the January committee, on Republicans or conservatives or supporters of President Trump trying to undermine and overturn democracy. And they don't realize that there have been over 4 buildings, more than that, but I'm talking about 4 buildings destroyed by pro-choice protest demonstrators and groups linked to the Democratic Party. And zero condemnation from AOC or Merrick Garland or Nancy Pelosi. Barely any condemnation from Mashed Potato Brains Joe. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Eric, hello. Luke, hello. Everyone here. Amazing Colonel, hello. Change it up, hello. There's zero condemnation. DVK, hello. And Face of America channel, hello. So I don't understand how Democrats react to this in the most more apoplectic, unhinged, hysterical than you could ever imagine, while at the same time saying that Trump is trying to undermine the rule of law. It's like you cheated Bernie Sanders. The DNC is legitimate to them, but the Supreme Court is illegitimate. Think about that for a second. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. But the Democratic National Committee is legitimate. It's a beautiful thing, and nobody ever talks about it. The interesting thing, if you look at what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, is that nobody ever talks about the reason, like, all of this widespread mania and hysteria and, like, unrest is taking place. You have a political machine that has every single possible advantage, from Jimmy Kimmel to social media algorithms to all of Hollywood, to now you have like 90s rockers saying they're going to like renounce their citizenship. Go. What does it matter if you go live in the UK? Live anywhere you want. It's not going to matter. You have another 90s pop singer saying don't listen to my music. Okay, well then reimburse all the people in red states that bought your albums. And it's like Trump, this is the true nature of this political side. The way they reacted to Trump, all of media, the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, The Atlantic, the New Yorker, New York Magazine, Vice, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Rolling Stone, Mother Jones, The Nation, BuzzFeed, uh, Daily Beast, everybody from Bette Midler to Robert De Niro to everyone in Hollywood, Jimmy Kimmel, late night, the way with such like unison, the contempt and disdain and vitriol and rage and outrage was funneled with such like a concerted effort against Trump. And it's like it basically resulted in nothing but the country descending into this political turmoil. Politics used to be one element of life. One element of life that had nothing to do with Johnny Carson, nothing to do with Arsenio Hall. It had nothing to do with the Super Bowl. It had nothing to do with the Emmys. It had nothing to do with the Academy Awards. Had nothing to do with any of this. Had nothing to do with your life in general. It was one element of life. Corporations had nothing really to do with with Supreme Court rulings or political squabbles or, tribalism within politics. Nothing to do. And now you have all of everybody, corporations, social media companies, Hollywood celebrities. You have all of these people condemning Trump for 5-6 years. Now they got what they wanted with mashed potato brains. We're in a recession. We could be flirting eventually, and I don't say this lightly, with a long-term recession, possible depression, depending on what the catalyst is. We could have an AIG Lehman Brothers moment. And you know what? I've taken a couple of days from the stock market crash channel, but hit subscribe there. And the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower. All of these things will happen. We've seen the stock market crash already, but it's going to crash much worse. We'll have diesel fuel at $7 a gallon, $7 or $8 eventually, by the end of the year. And oil prices will go back to 120, 130. They could hit 140. They will definitely within the next year break the all-time record of 147. I'll talk about that on the stock market crash channel. We're heading in, like, if you have to get a loan from the bank, do so. Because lending is going to dry up. There are going to be massive layoffs. And this is what happens when you go into the Oval Office wanting to transform the economy from an economy that's based on fossil fuels to an economy that's based on renewables. You can't just simply do that immediately. And they can't codify Roe v. Wade in Congress because they still don't have the votes, even though they run Congress. They won't have Manchin. They probably won't have Sinema. They might not have another blue dog Democrat or Democrat in a red state. So, they're going to lose miserably in the House and the Senate. We're going to be in an official recession. We'll be in an official recession while November. When November comes around, we'll be in an official recession. Okay? And think about, like, nobody can say that Trump didn't preside over a great economy. That's the thing that he was about, a good economy. Now would be a good time Now would be a good. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. Hold on one second. It's now would be a good time to Dustin. Hello. Now would be a good time to now would be a very good time. Shungu Patsika, thank you. Shungu, hello. They they told me to insert an ad. They kept saying insert advertising, so I did, and I just actually saw that it actually inserted an ad. That's bizarre. I've never seen that before. So so now would be a good time if you're Democrats to kind of like look and say, okay, let's convince the other side. Let's convince through logic, debate, reason, discourse, discussion. Brad's hello. Uh, Discourse, discussion, debate, dialogue. Instead, it's, oh my God, I'm so angry. We have to abolish the Supreme Court. Could you imagine if Trump wanted to abolish the Supreme Court? The salty constitutionalist, hello. Could you imagine if Trump wanted to abolish the Supreme Court? Just think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine the hysteria, the articles in the Atlantic? They would want to impeach him 30, 40 times. The op-eds in the New York Post. Everything is this euphemism or this broad, ambiguous social theory, you know. JG! Thank you, JG! Have a great stream, HA. Thank you, JG. Remember 9 months. JG, thank you so much. I hope all is well. I hope all is well, JG. Thank you to my members on this channel. Thank you so very much. JG, I hope all is well. But it's like you have this hysteria, this reaction that is a typical reaction that you think that it was like my long-winded point is that you think this is only a reaction to Trump, okay? But it's not a reaction only to Trump. That's the point. It's not only a reaction to Trump. Did you think that the manner in which media covered Donald Trump was unique, or was it an anomaly? Do they want a good Republican? They would do the same thing with Mitt Romney. They'd have more to work with Mitt Romney, actually. He put a dog on top of his car. No, call the Hague. Crime against humanity. First of all, nobody does that, but he did. And it's like, they have now learned anything they don't like. They have media covering for them. Now you have vandalism and like everything from arson to them throwing incendiary devices into buildings. And the Federal Bureau of Investigation is now investigating. And you have Homeland Security investigating. And it's like, it's like, imagine if Trump was silent. They went after Trump for not condemning January too quickly. Cyan, hello. They went after Trump for not condemning January too quickly, or not quickly enough. That was their big thing. Like he committed a criminal act because he didn't condemn it quickly enough. Meanwhile, you have them engaging in criminal activity throughout the country. Vandalism, intimidation, harassment. This one man went up to Rudy Giuliani, 78-year-old Rudy Giuliani, and slapped him on the back. And if you do that to the wrong person, you might not have an arm anymore. So, but he picked 78-year-old Rudy Giuliani. And then he called Rudy Giuliani like some insult. And he said, you're going to harm the lives of people. You're going to end people's lives. And they take this extreme leap of logic. Rudy Giuliani's not on the Supreme Court, even if he was. You don't go ahead and do that to a 78-year-old person. But see, that's the way they work. Their argument is, look how upset we are. It's not, hey, this is why we're right in terms of policy. This is why we make more sense. Let's have a debate and discussion. Let's at least, you know what? Like red states now that are completely abolishing it. JG, thank you. JG, thank you so very, very much, JG. I can't thank you enough. JG, thank you so much. Starting it off. And it's always a pleasure and an honor to have you here, JG. I hope all is well. You must be enjoying this almost it's on the verge of lunacy. It's kind of hilarious, but also sad and pathetic at the same time. Like, like the reaction is one of it's just unbelievable. JG, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you so very, very much, JG. Like, why politics used to be about ideas and debate. Now it's about emotion and media and public relations. Ronald, hello. Thank you again, JG. It's like, let's just go. We'll just go here and okay, let's look. Okay. Really quickly, I mean, we can go throughout. This is on Twitter, right? Okay. So this individual actually was, interestingly enough, accused of, well, one of these individuals, let's just say, was accused of campaign finance violation. But here, maybe it's time to talk about whether the Supreme Court, an undemocratic institution, it's the pillar of democracy. It's tasked with interpreting the Constitution. It's literally one of the enumerated powers within the Constitution. And like one of the branches of government within the Constitution. And okay, an undemocratic institution. What? They vote on everything with no actual authority. Yes, it's the authority to it's the authority to interpret the Constitution. That's what the Supreme Court is. It's the judicial branch. Is widely seen as illegitimate. No, it's widely seen as legitimate, only illegitimate to the left or far left. Should be treated as simple advisory board. Okay, so now Trump. Could you imagine if Trump said the Supreme Court should be an advisory board? Perhaps New York should simply not comply. Well, then eventually you get a Republican president who will actually enforce the Supreme Court's rulings. And there you go. Honestly, since Kavanaugh got on the Supreme Court, should have been like, the Supreme Court is illegitimate. Based on what? Kavanaugh was accused of something without any evidence of ever happening. He was accused of a crime without any evidence shown pertaining to the crime. All right, let's go. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. Okay. If a teacher tries to force religious practice on me in school, I'll force my fist. Okay, no one's going to force any religious practice on anybody. And then if you do that, you'll go to prison or jail. I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable. Joshua! Mismanaged outrage from brainwash. Exactly. It's mismanaged outrage. Exactly. JG, thank you again. Joshua, well said. It is mismanaged outrage. The illegitimate court has 4 justices who lied under oath. That's the best thing I've heard all. Okay. They didn't lie under oath because none of the questions, none of their answers. Okay, you know who did lie under oath? Certain bureaucrats that Democrats revere. James Clapper lied under oath. He literally lied about the Edward Snowden revelations that proved that he lied. And John Brennan lied about infiltrating Feinstein's Senate pertaining to a Bush-era crime. So these people actually did lie under oath. One of the most absurd, one of the most ridiculous here. This is hilarious. So AOC, in her infinite wisdom, stated that they never said that Roe v. Wade would never be overturned. Go ahead and impeach the Supreme. I want them to go ahead and impeach. Try your best to impeach the Supreme Court justices. Okay, you won't get them. You'll impeach them. You will not get them removed. You need 66 senators. You won't even get a majority of senators. Go and do that. Go and do that. It only helps Republicans. Go ahead and what in their mind, when they were confirming these conservative justices, see, AOC doesn't realize that Bernie Sanders was cheated. And that at that moment, even though I support Trump, at that moment, Bernie Sanders would have won. And they would have had three liberal Supreme Court justices. Then it would have been legitimate. Lied under oath. Okay, who cares? It's an impeachable offense. This is why AOC doesn't debate anybody, because like it wouldn't go well. Oh, let's just leave it at that. Representative called lied under oath was referring to Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch. Two senators said the justices are sure that they believe Roe v. Wade is law. So what? So what does that even mean? Everyone knew it was law or precedent, but if it was bad precedent, according to these conservative Supreme Court justices, because you cheated Bernie Sanders, and the only chance of winning in 2016, well, there you go. Representative AOC on Sunday said she believes it's an impeachable offense for a Supreme Court justice to lie under, then go impeach them. If you think they lied under oath, go impeach them. But the Democrats won't. They're all talk. See, this is the thing. Democrats have groups committing criminal activity, giving tacit approval to groups aligned with them to commit criminal activity while media covers it up. Then they have Congress people make absurd statements, but they won't back up anything. And what they'll do is only try to intimidate, bully, harass, coerce, and they'll try to force their viewpoint without any logic, reason, debate, discourse, discussion. Don't just claim that it's an impeachable offense. Now work to impeach Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. Then you could find out how they misled. So she felt they misled Justice Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch during their individual confirmation hearings. The two senators, both what? They're pro-life, voted to confirm Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. Okay, so sorry. It's okay. Susan Collins and Joe Manchin said they misfound. Okay. So that's political, but here, occasionally could as a crisis of legitimacy. No, it's actually more legitimate now, just as legitimate as it ever was. Let's put it that way. Okay. The court is just as legitimate as it ever was. So let's see. If we allow the Supreme Court nominees to lie under oath and secure lifetime appointments to the highest court in the land, and then issue without basis, we must see that through. There must be consequences for a deeply destabilizing action and a hostile takeover of our democratic institutions. It's not a hostile takeover. You would have had 3 liberal Supreme Court justices had you won 2016, but the DNC picked the candidate that lost. The candidate that would have won Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania Well, James Comey wrote a letter because classified data was flying around. Meanwhile, ironically, I think Hillary should run in 2024. I want to do it all over again. Hillary Trump, 2024, Hillary DeSantis. But see, like, this is the thing. This passes as like really passionate political rhetoric. It's complete nonsense, and it makes no sense at all. If we allow Supreme Court nominees to lie under oath, you didn't allow anything. They didn't lie under oath. They never promised. They never guaranteed they wouldn't overturn Roe v. Wade. That's never, there was never a guarantee. Okay. And again, if the court does something AOC or Democrats like, then it's legitimate. If they do something that Democrats or AOC don't like, it's illegitimate. But see, again, imagine if Trump acted this way. They went after Trump for like disagreeing with one judge in a crude manner. Could you imagine? I mean, these people there's no moral compass. There's no, they live to be hypocritical. The way they engage in life is pure hypocrisy. If it doesn't go their way, it's illegitimate and should be completely removed from the face of the earth. If it goes their way, it's legitimate and the rule of law. To allow this to stand is to allow it to happen. I think, therefore I am. Okay. Rene Descartes. And what makes it particularly is that it sends a blaring signal to all future nominees they can now lie to a duly elected member of the United States. Oh my gosh. Duly elected. Duly. Just like when Trump was duly elected and you said that the Kremlin installed him. Everything, our democracy. Democracy is now a synonym or a metaphor for the Democratic Party. Democracy is the Democratic Party. Next time, don't cheat the only candidate that could have won. Okay, you did this to yourselves. Democrats did this to themselves. Unbelievable. The only candidate who would have won, and I said this and I was quoted in NPR, and I'm glad Trump won because he was a fantastic president in terms of the economy and foreign policy. I wish I voted for him in 2016. I actually voted for Jill Stein in 2016. I was on the left. Okay? But this is the most petulant, disingenuous, and duplicitous reaction. The Supreme Court literally is the embodiment of the rule of law. That is the rule of law. We live by the Constitution. If a medical procedure is not stated within the Constitution, if it's not one of the enumerated rights or powers within the Constitution, like the Second Amendment is, see, 18th century men are more like the conservatives of today. James Madison would not be a Democrat today. No. He would not want to revere intelligence agencies. Want to do away with the Supreme Court. Or do away with the Second Amendment or First Amendment. Okay? He would not want social media algorithms to prevent people from expressing their viewpoints. Under the guise of, civility. James Madison wrote the Bill of Rights to ensure that modern-day Democrats wouldn't trample upon all the rights we have. The Constitution is set up so we have state governments taking care of laws that aren't stated categorically within, or taking care of issues, laws that aren't stated categorically within the Constitution. And the judicial branch decides what is constitutional and what isn't. So therefore, in this ruling, the Dobbs ruling said, okay, you know what? We're giving it to the states. That is the definition of democracy. But see, everything they said about Trump, they embody. Every single thing they said about Trump, they embody. Everything they said about Trump. You couldn't get a better example of who they truly are. Okay? You couldn't get... Thank you, laughing dog. Thank you. You couldn't get... And by the way, the bigotry and the prejudice that has been leveled against Clarence Thomas. God bless Clarence Thomas. Here's a man who is dealing with the true nature of the Democratic Party. It's the true nature. It's who Democrats are. Okay? They will talk about you have to elevate voices and you have to, respect voices only of people that agree with them. Only of people that agree with them. If you disagree with Democrats, you have committed blasphemy. You are now undermining democracy. You are a horrible human being. You should never have been born. Hence why they want. Anyway, and you have widespread unrest throughout the entire country. You have widespread unrest throughout the entire country, and not a word from, because it suits them. Okay, suddenly now the January committee is even a greater farce and theatrical performance and performance art than ever it was ever before. Exactly. Now and Twitter, what happened to Twitter guidelines? Look what Clarence Thomas is dealing with. You have to understand, Democrats have taken, and I see it, Laughing Dog. St. Clarence the Great, exactly. Laughing Dog, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. I hope all is well. I love the emoji, or the profile. I love the profile. God bless Clarence Thomas. I mean, and here, I see the left-leaning viewpoint in red states. Okay? I understand their viewpoint. I can actually articulate the viewpoint in a sober, rational manner. Okay? Dinah to Die, hello. Laughing Dog, thank you again. But, what Democrats have done is they've taken the most horrendous moments and chapters. They've taken chapters from the history of their constituents. They've taken moments in U.S. and world history. Okay? And they've tried to utilize it against. They've distorted historical record. AOC did. I wrote a Jerusalem Post op-ed on that. That's in every one of my description sections. What they'll do is they'll take moments, unspeakable, tragic, barbaric, inhumane moments where certain groups have dealt with the most evil crimes against humanity. And they'll try to paint themselves, Democrats, as the defenders of these people. When push comes to shove, however, you will see how they treat anyone who disagrees with them. So now look how they're treating Laughing Dog. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Look how they're treating Clarence Thomas. I mean, you can't get. The Democrats have taken the civil rights movement. They've taken what started in 1619 up until 1865. They've taken the 1930s and 1940s, Germany and Europe. And you see what AOC said about detention centers. And Yad Vashem had to refute her. And it was lost upon Democrats. They don't get it. They make absurd historical leaps of logic. They distort history to make absurd leaps of logic. They claim to be on the right side of history. When you look at it, when was the last time the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Hollywood directors, and opportunist politicians were on the right side of history? Okay, they're not on the right side of history. And you have to live by the Constitution. You don't like it. Like one 90s rocker was like, I'm going to go to UK. Go to UK. They have the same type. They have more restrictions than most states here in the U.S. after the Dobbs ruling. So go to the UK. What I mean, also the thing is like, what does it matter? Like what a millionaire, multi-millionaire '90s rocker thinks about anything. This is what happened. This is what life was so much better before 2016. 2016, we entered the matrix. That's why we need Hillary Trump 2024 again. 2016, we entered a time period where we entered a time period where now like Democrats need every conceivable advantage because they can't actually win um, by trying to convince the other side. They're not going to try to convince the other opposing political viewpoints, or they're not going to try to convince an opposing political viewpoint. Okay, they're not going to do that. They're not going to try to convince um, any opposing political viewpoint. And it's like they're going to try to intimidate, and they're going to voice outrage. But see, you've had endless outrage with Trump. At a certain point, somebody needs to tell these people, politics is not about emotion. Acting is about emotion. If you're an actor, like, you have to actually voice your viewpoint in a logical manner so that policies or that laws or that the Senate or the House can perhaps address the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court cannot do anything if legislation is passed. They don't want to pass legislation because they know that that their brand or that their political party or that their argument will not be compelling enough to codify Roe v. Wade, to make it a federal law. Go ahead and do it. The Supreme Court did not stop anyone from doing anything. The states might, or certain states will, red states will. And that could be bad for a lot of people. Joel Valdez! Joel, thank you. Thank you, Joel. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Joel Valdez. Thank you. Greatly appreciated, Joel. Thank you so much. To my super chat, thank you. The Supreme Court did not stop anyone from doing anything. It didn't stop anyone from doing anything. Okay? When they're like, you know what? This is a ruling that's so horrible. It's like, well, that's the way the Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution. They have to interpret. We live by the Constitution. We live by the Constitution. We don't live by emotion. Okay? Thank God that the Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution throughout the 60s and 70s. We wouldn't have the civil rights movement if it was just up to a majority opinion within the country. Like, Democrats have zero concept. Joel Valdez again. Thank you, Joel. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, Joel. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Joel Valdez. Thank you. Greatly, greatly appreciated. To my super chat, I can't thank you enough. Thank you again, Joel. Greatly appreciated, Joel. Thank you. We live in a democracy that is upheld by the rule of law, embodied by the Supreme Court and its interpretation of the Constitution. We do not have a country without the Constitution. And the Supreme Court did not tell anyone they can't have a medical procedure. What the Supreme Court said is that it is not the Constitution does not allow, or doesn't, the Constitution has nothing to do with this medical procedure. And that if the states or if Congress want to enact, if Congress wants to enact a law on a federal level, making it legal in every state, or if states want to make it legal or illegal, that's their business. Joel, thank you again. Thank you. Greatly appreciated it. Anita, hello. You're not stopping. Nobody is stopping anybody. And by the way, these European countries that Democrats wish they lived in, the European countries have greater restrictions than a good number of red states. So it's like, I don't know what, like, this one 90s rocker said, don't listen, you know what? Don't listen to my music. If you're a conservative and likes to, you can't listen to my music anymore. It's like, well, okay, but are you going to reimburse every red state listener or every person in red states that purchased your album for 20 years? You're going to go ahead and give back that money? No, you're not. You'll keep that money for sure. It's like when Major League Baseball said that, McGuire and Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Rafael Palmeiro and all these people couldn't. When you see these sports writers like, oh, you know what, they juiced up, so they can't be in the Hall of Fame. It's like, no, Major League Baseball knew, and you don't see Major League Baseball giving back royalties from all the jerseys that Barry Bonds sold, do you? No, you don't. There's only hypocrisy. Bill, hello. There's only hypocrisy in this country. It's just unbelievable. They said that Trump was going to undermine democracy and he was going to, he promoted distrust of our institutions. They're calling the Supreme Court illegitimate. There is nothing more legitimate than the Supreme Court. You can say what you want about the executive and Congress. There's nothing more legitimate. There's nothing more legitimate than the Supreme Court. Janet! I hope all is well, Janet. Janet McGuffey, I hope all is well. Thank you, Janet. I hope all is well, Janet. Thank you so very, very much. Janet McGuffey, thank you again. Thank you as always. I hope all is well. Janet and Joel and everybody here. Imagine if Trump said the Supreme Court was illegitimate. See, they don't ever flip the script. They don't ever put themselves in the shoes of others. They don't ever turn the tables because they can't do that. It's do what I say, not as I do. It's just, if they like something, then you have to revere any decision, any law, any policy that they find legitimate or appropriate. But if they don't like it, it's the end of the world. And it's like, these Kavanaugh and Gorsuch did not lie. So good luck trying to convince, the average American, even though the average American might disagree with the ruling, or let's say a lot of Americans disagree, but nobody's going to say that Kavanaugh or Gorsuch lied under oath. They convinced themselves of these things. These are like phantoms and ghosts and goblins that they think are real. They convinced themselves that Trump was installed by the Kremlin and there was a fair primary in 2016. Oh, by the way, we'll see. I'm pitching an article pertaining to exactly that, like how Democrats did this to themselves. So we'll see how that works out. But they did this to themselves. It's like they want their cake and eat. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want everything their way all the time. You have to fall, and then they say you have to fall in line. Fall in line. 2016. Fall in line. But it's like being in a dysfunctional relationship. If the only reason you're in a relationship is because you're afraid of the consequences of leaving, that's not a happy situation. That's like a very dysfunctional situation. And so what they would say is, even if you don't like Democrats, you still have to vote Democrat because they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Well, that mentality, the vote blue no matter who, that mentality didn't work out, did it? Because if you keep on pushing the envelope and if you keep on cheating Bernie Sanders, for example, if you engage, there's a certain point that Like, I was never going to vote for a Lincoln Project Democrat or a Democrat that wants never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and military interventions and regime changes. I was never going to vote for that person ever, 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 ever. So instead of and that was a populist moment in 2016. So and Bernie Sanders, I know that people disagree with me, but I support Donald Trump and or DeSantis definitely. I want a great economy and a great foreign policy. We had that with Trump. We have a horrible foreign policy and an even worse economy. Janet, thank you so very much again. And Joel, thank you. But at that point in time, I had a front row seat. I understood, I saw, and I told everyone. NPR quoted me. I told everyone in the Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon. I was on MSNBC, CNN. I said, if you want to defeat Trump, you have to go with Bernie Sanders. And he did better in the polls, whatever that means. But but it was a populist moment. People did not want a third Obama administration. They didn't want a third term for President Obama. They did not want a third term. They wanted a president to focus on the economy and to limit foreign policy interventions. They wanted a scaled back foreign policy, and they wanted a focus on the American economy, and we have that with Donald Trump. Now, Democrats are incapable. They're just simply not capable of looking and saying, oh, it's bigotry, it's prejudice. That's why Trump won. Like, no. It's DVK. Thank you. It's like that was a moment where Bernie Sanders didn't have private servers, and Comey couldn't have derailed Bernie Sanders. You had James Comey, who is the most powerful. He was the most powerful man. James Comey is the most powerful man in American politics. Joel Valdez! Love your Durham coverage. You know what will happen. Thank you so very much, Joel. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, Joel. I appreciate that very much because, I try to do the Durham Pro special counsel. Now, I try to do segments, Joel, and people are like, I just swear to God, every segment, you're going to have a comment. Nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing's ever going to happen. Durham can indict 30 people now. They're going to all get off. Nothing's ever going to happen. It's going to, when we have a Trump Republican House and Senate, hopefully then I'll get above 200,000 subs. I usually stay at a certain sub count for about 6-7 months. Then it'll go up. But this coming 3-4 years, Joel, is going to be fantastic. We'll have a Trump Republican House and Senate investigating Hunter. And by the way, I did a segment today. So Joe was paying for Hunter's romantic relationships with, maybe individuals that, work in that industry. Okay. And then you have this Trump and his personal behavior. Okay, you know what? That was a business agreement. That was more of a business agreement with Stormy. Not what you want to do, and nothing compared to what was going on here. They spent $30,000. He spent $30,000 on probably hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. You have $30,000 just for 6 months, 7 months. Okay, I'm algorithmically friendly here. All right. You have the Federal Bureau of Investigation going after Trump's lawyer and Navarro and all these people, and it's throughout the country, Christian and pro-life groups are being targeted. You might want to maybe protect these people if your homeland. Then you have the worst big menace to America is conservative extremism. They don't have media backing them up, and I don't support them, but I'm saying, like, look at the difference in terms of damage. Look at the damage. Look at the property damage. Look at the lives lost. Look what they get away with. Look what the left gets away with. It's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty unbelievable. But they didn't lie under oath, which is hilarious. A lie under oath is like John Brennan and Clapper. But see, this is the problem with the left. You will never get AOC to say that Brennan lied under oath. You will never in a million years get AOC to say that Brennan lied under oath. That will not happen. That will not happen. It ain't going to happen. So, Janet, thank you again. I hope all is well. Janet, thank you. Joel, thank you very much. Thank you. A slew of prominent individuals. Who are these prominent? Bill Gates. Oh, wow. What do I care? What do I care? Really famous, wealthy people are upset. Really? That must mean that the Supreme Court is bad. If famous and wealthy people say they're upset. Oh no. Does this mean they were more upset than when they were outraged beyond belief that Trump won? I actually, you know what? AOC, do it. Please do it. They also think that, like, showing displeasure, discontent, showing how angry they are. If they show how angry they are, that's like a political tool. But people are struggling now to pay rent. Like, the country is struggling economically. And it's really funny too, because I have like friends of mine, the friends that are still left that don't care I voted for Trump. The one or two people, but we get into these like discussions about economics, and one of them was like, "Oh yeah, a lot of people have a lot of savings left, a lot of savings because this is a recession that might not hurt everybody. A lot of savings." Like, well, yeah, $10 trillion was pumped in the economy. Maybe there's some stimulus that people still have, or maybe they have more saving actually, but they have more debt though. So the debt goes into it. The debt is factored into this. People have more debt than ever, and interest rates will continue to go up, and credit card payments will go up. Mortgage payments will go up. Everything will be more expensive. Diesel. When diesel gets to $8, it will not be good for the economy. It'll be terrible. Absolutely terrible for the economy. That will induce a recession right then and there. I mean, we're in a recession, but a prolonged recession. But I mean, there you go. It's like, okay, here. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. It's not illegitimate, though. It's very legitimate. And the thing is, you'll find out how legitimate it is when a Republican becomes president. Because then you have you have a Republican administration with a Republican House and Senate. Then you'll find out how legitimate the Supreme Court is. In a 6-3, the Supreme Court actually ruled that actually your mom's an illegitimate institution. What does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean? The Supreme Court fringe, extreme fringe. Oh my God. It's time to say it. It's time to say it. The U.S. Supreme Court has become illegitimate. Imagine Trump. Trump says U.S. Supreme Court illegitimate. No, my God, Trump! He wants to do away with the Supreme Court. Trump! Could you imagine? Joel Valdez! Liberals act like spoiled 5-year-olds when they don't get their way. Exactly. All they need to do now is hold their breath now. Exactly. Exactly. Could you imagine if Trump said that could you imagine if Trump said, faith Faith Keeling, thank you. Joel, exactly. Faith, thank you so very much, Faith. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Faith. Thank you. Could you imagine Joel and Faith and Janet and everybody here? Could you imagine if Donald Trump, the devourer of worlds, and the tyrant and authoritarian Orange Julius Caesar, Cheeto Mussolini, could you imagine if Trump said that the Supreme Court was illegitimate? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Faith, thank you so very, very much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. Could you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if Trump said that? I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. And so, like, and so it's like Faith and Joel and everybody here. It's like, and Janet. It's like, so it's illegitimate in your mind. So now, what do Democrats plan to do? Like, how does this factor into? Shoot, how does this factor into? Oh, what did I do here? How does this factor into um the discussion of November and midterms? How does that factor into Faith and Joel? What are they going to do now if the Supreme Court is illegitimate? The Supreme Court is illegitimate. Today's GOP is Christo. Oh my God. If we want to throw authoritarian, it'll take a generation to fix. Young people, get out and vote. Young people. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. 6 unelected judges. What? They were nominated. That's not how. Presidents who lost the popular vote. The Republicans will never, ever, ever, ever again win the popular vote because you have all of media. Media and Clarence Thomas, yet again, is saving democracy in the Republic and in looking at the libel laws. You have the New York Times and Washington Post routinely running stories and opinion pieces that have nothing to do. Oh, here we go. Next up, for the illegitimate Supreme Court. It's illegitimate. We don't like it. We don't like it. It's illegitimate. It's an illegitimate Supreme Court. We don't like the ruling, so therefore it's not legitimate. But if we liked it, it would be legitimate. If we like it, it's legitimate. If we don't like it, it's illegitimate. Could you imagine living with somebody like that? Ost, thank you. Big Daddy, goodbye. Prawn. Oh, that's right, Prawn D. I'm in disguise. How have you been? Get on all tech. Much love. I need to. Prawn D, thank you. I'll just say Ost. OST, thank you, Ost. Thank you so very, very, very much. I hope all is well. That's right. Prawn D, how are you? I gotta get an alt tech, but I'm trying to build. Once I get to over 200,000 subs, everything will start when I have 200,000 plus subs. Tell your friends about this channel, please, people. I'm stuck at 197 forever. Thank you, Ost. Thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciate it. I hope all is well. I've been good, thank God. Just watching the meltdown. Faith and Joel and everybody here, Janet, everybody here, we've all been watching the meltdown. This meltdown is unbelievable. Ost, have you ever seen this? It's not. Raise your hand if you agree. It's time to expand the court. I agree. Expand it to 55,000 justices. And then when Republicans get it, it will be 55,001 justices. And Democrats will be 55,003 justices. And 55,007. 55,009. The Supreme Court is illegitimate. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on one second. So this is how they're going to prove that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. Let's see. Hopefully they're not using profanity. Oh, Lord. I don't have the volume. Whatever. Hold on one second. Janet, Janet McGuffey, thank you. Thank you again, Janet. Ost, thank you again. Janet, thank you so very, very much. I hope all is well. I hope all is well, Janet. Thank you. Janet, I hope all is well. Thank you so very, very much. Okay, let's see if we can hear this. Janet, Ost, everyone here, Faith, everybody, let's see if we can hear this. Illegitimate! Oh my god, AOC is loving it. Oh my god, this is like, there's no like, sadness here. Yay, fantastic. There's no sadness. This is like the best thing ever for this type of politician. Oh my god, here, hold on a second. This will not do anything to help women anywhere, if that's your vantage point. So, this is what we're dealing with. Could you imagine if Trump supporters were saying this? Lost, thank you. Janet, thank you so very, very much. Thank you as always, Janet. Thank you. Susan, hello. Why would yelling that the Supreme Court is illegitimate, why would yelling that do anything? How on earth? Like, this is like the same when I got text messages from former friends. I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know. You're voting for Trump. You're voting for Trump. I just want to let you know how wrong you are. You're on the wrong side of history. Can't be your friend anymore. That's interesting. Um, John Brennan, James Clapper, Hollywood directors, the Lincoln Project. they're all against Trump, but I'm on the wrong side of history. Okay. Let me know when Hollywood directors and intelligence agencies and people who push for never-ending military conflict are on the right side of history. Let me know when that happens. Wake me up when that happens. I just want to let you know. So shit. You're voting for Trump? Well, do you want to talk about it? No, I don't want to talk about it. He called it a hoax. He's installed by the Kremlin. He's mean. Oh my God. Exactly. Tribalism. Exactly, Eric. Exactly. Janet. Thank you. Ost. Thank you. Janet. Thank you. Exactly. And this is like, these are supposed to be the most educated people. I'm so angry. Can't you see I'm so angry? This will help change laws. Me and my anger. This will help change many laws. Vote Democrat. Vote blue no matter who. Well, that's how you got here. This AOC would never do this if they cheated Bernie Sanders again, which they did 2 years ago. They did, of course. It's time to say it. It's been illegitimate. Oh, here we go. Here we go. The Incredible Hulk. Let's see what he says. A nation was founded on the separation. By the way, this man said nothing when Bernie Sanders was cheated. All right? Just to let you know. Big Bernie man. Big Bernie guy. Said nothing when... Nothing. None of these people said anything. This nation was founded on church and state. Yeah, but it has nothing to... They didn't overturn Roe because of God. They did it because it has nothing to do with the Constitution. That's the issue. That's the way it was interpreted. They keep on trying to they keep on trying to obfuscate by saying, oh, it was a religious decision, nothing to do with religion. All right. McConnell blocked President Obama's nomination hearing. Yet he did so because he had the Senate, because Republicans had the Senate. And Harry Reid started the process of making nominations, presidential nominations, judicial nominations, 50 vote instead of 60 vote. And then that allowed Republicans to then, here's the fact check. This is the hilarious part. This is why these fact checking articles lie all the time or deceive. Or fact check. Dun 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 dun. Fact check. Fact check. Republicans, not Democrats, eliminated the Senate filibuster on the Supreme Court nominees. Then it goes down, then you have to scroll all the way down. We rate this claim as false based on our research. The nice caveat, based on our research. Your research ignores context and exactly what happened. The Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, was not responsible for lowering the vote threshold to confirm court nominees to 51. Here's where they're just lying outright. Rather, he orchestrated that change for judicial nominees and presidential appointments, including the Supreme Court. What was that? He orchestrated that change for judicial nominees. Oh, so that made it easier for McConnell to then make a 50, just lower the threshold for Supreme Court nominees. I guess so, yeah. When control of Senate changed parties, it was Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell who extended the rule change to apply to nominees to the Supreme Court in 2017. So there you go. Harry Reid got the ball rolling on that. So. And Jenny, here's James Clapper. There's no evidence that Trump either wittingly or unwittingly worked with the Kremlin. And then John O'Brennan, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. A very big difference between evidence and intelligence. Of course, none of us lied under oath. And they're like authoritarian. There's authoritarian. It's like, stop calling the Supreme Court and call it what it is, an illegitimate Supreme Court. With this, it doesn't matter. None of this. This is like none of this matters. And they're upset about a bunch of football players praying, but that happens all the time. That happens everywhere. All the time. What's the problem? Go ahead and try to expand the Supreme Court. Do so. Do whatever you want. See, the thing is, I just want them to do it. Like, just do it. Like Nike. Illegitimate. It's illegitimate. Meanwhile, the DNC is very legitimate for cheating Bernie Sanders, which is why, see, they can't ever look inward. They can't ever look. This is what they need to do. They need to expand the court. I want them to do it because it would be a poop show of epic biblical proportions. Expand the court. Go ahead and expand the court. Try to impeach these justices. Do whatever you need to do. And you know what? Every 90s rocker should go and live in the UK or anywhere else. Go move to any country you want. Go live anywhere you want. It's all good. It's all good. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. They keep on yelling illegitimate, and they don't realize that, well, when you have a Republican House and Senate, and then a Republican president, it'll definitely be legitimate. And you can enforce, Eisenhower enforced a Supreme Court ruling with the military. You can enforce a Supreme Court ruling with the military. A very important Supreme Court ruling with the military. Very important. Okay. Very, very important. So, hold on one second. 1957. In Little Rock. September, well, it was actually Executive Order 730, which put Arkansas National Guard under federal authority and sent 1,000 U.S. Army to 101st to maintain order as Central High School desegregated. So that was based on a Supreme Court ruling. So Brown versus Topeka made segregation illegal. There you go. 1954. And they say, well, you're not going to enforce everything. Well, yeah, the president will enforce. And if this president, mashed potato brains, doesn't want to, then Trump or DeSantis in 2024. So, the Supreme Court is needed. It's not, and they're like, well, these Republicans don't get the popular vote. They will never get the popular vote, especially with New York and California. The most populous states are blue. So, or two of the most populous states are blue. There are more red states, though. So, but then, it's like all of media sides with one political side. So it's like, you're never going to have another Republican. The fact that the Orange Menace got 73 plus million votes, despite the universal negative media coverage, is pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And so the wonderful thing will be when Democrats actually try to implement their absurd rhetoric. Go ahead and pack the courts, try to impeach these justices, and see what the rest of the world and the country thinks of you. Meanwhile, they cheated Bernie Sanders in the DNC primary. That was a complete farce. But that's legitimate. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very, very much. I should have a live stream probably tomorrow night, about 8 p.m., same time, so be here. So be here, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific. And I can't thank you enough, everybody here. Aust, Janet, everyone here. Thank you so very, very much. Faith, Joel, thank you, everybody. Janet, thank you again. And I should have a live stream, about tomorrow at around 8 p.m. So be here tomorrow. I'll probably start doing more live streams just because, the next 5 months are going to be, my God, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, like a Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th moment for Democrats. It'll be very amusing, so be here. Hit subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. To my super chat, I can't thank you enough. You allow me to do these live streams, so thanks, everybody. JG, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much. I'll